When you came into this world, there was nothing in your mind, it was empty. And then slowly, whatever you have been told, those stories, you believe it, and that's your reality. And that reality that you think is reality does not change just by itself. You need some sort of knowledge, some sort of clarity, otherwise, those notions stay as they are because there is no other reference point. Just like believing once that this planet is flat, not round, was believed, and then with technology, with science, it was discovered that actually the planet is round. The planet was always round, but the misunderstanding was that it had no clarity, no evidence. It only saw from a little view flat land, and that became reality. But the fact was always the same. Even million years ago, the planet was round, the earth was round, and still it is round. So the facts always stay the same, but this misunderstanding covers the intelligence, and you have no other way. That's all you were told, and that's all you know. And once the clarity comes, that second type of knowledge, not to gather, not to add more, but to clear the fact, just like the earth is round, not flat, then it is clear. When the mind looks at Ramana Maharishi in old age, at Jesus on cross, at Guru Gobind Singh facing mortal wounds, at Buddha in his final illness, at the Sahabzade, the 4 children of Guru Gobind Singh, 2 children bricked alive for refusing conversion, 2 entering battle and meeting death without retreat, it sees suffering. The mind sees brutality, it sees bodies subjected to time, violence, and power. The body aged, the body was wounded, the body was imprisoned, the body was killed. And from this, a conclusion is drawn: misunderstanding. If they were truly realized, if they were truly enlightened, if they held extraordinary power, their bodies should have not suffered. This conclusion reveals more about the observer than about the one being observed. In other words, that the one who is asking this question, or where the misunderstanding is in their mind, not actually those who lived at that time. The misunderstanding begins here. Wisdom is assumed to depend on the body. Truth is assumed to protect flesh. Clarity is assumed to grant immunity. But these expectations already placed identity exactly where those beings never placed it: into the body. The body is biological. It ages, it breaks down, it follows time. Meditation does not stop cell from mutating. Clarity does not override physiology. Understanding does not negotiate with nature. To expect otherwise is to mistake wisdom for control. Look more closely. Those who question what happened to these figures are unconsciously identifying themselves with this form. So they look at another body and assume that must be the person. They say, look what happened to him. But they never ask who was never confined to the body to begin with. Just like example, even a little child is mistaken as sees the insect dead, and it says insect is dead. So the mind calls that insect. The insect never named itself insect. And what moved in the insect, the child does not know, because the child also places its attention to its body and knows itself that I am this body, I am this face, I am whatever the name is. This is the crucial point. Those beings did not claim the body as me. They did not locate truth in appearance. They did not rest identity in health or youth or form. The body was allowed to follow its course without resistance, without demand, without attachment, without fear. The body may express illness, or it may meet violence, or it may be broken by force. In some cases, it endured disease. In another, it faces blades, prisons, or walls built to bury it alive, just like with those two Sahibzades, son of Guru Gobind Singh. The form suffered different ending. The truth did not change. Illness or violence did not contradict their clarity, it revealed the absence of attachment to form. To live without attachment to the body does not make the body immortal. It means suffering is not added to change. Pain may appear, fear does not need to. Illness may touch the form, violence may touch the form, bullets may pierce it, prison may enter it, the formless remains untouched. The body moves through time. What they stood as was never in time. The confusion arises because language keeps pointing to persons. Kabir Das, Guru Nanak, Papaji, the sage, the Guru. But what was functioning there was never personal. Not an achievement, not a perfect human, not a special body. It was the same total functioning that existed before those forms appeared, that existed during their lifetime, that exists now, and that will continue forever. Nothing entered them, nothing left with them. When the body is mistaken for the center, every illness becomes a contradiction. When the center is seen clearly, the body is just another movement within time, within life. To the mind, birth happens, aging happens, illness happens, death happens. But none of this define what is. So the question is not why did their body suffer? The real question is why is identity still being placed in the body at all? That is the only suffering that remains. Those beings did not transcend the body. They simply never confused it for what they were. And that is why nothing was threatened when the body weakened, cut, wounded, changed, or failed. What remains was never touched, not by disease, not by health, not by age, not by execution, not by death. It was functioning before those bodies, during those bodies, and continues unbroken, unclaimed, unthreatened. The misunderstanding ends when attention stops insisting that truth must look immortal. Life was never meant to be protected. Only the false center needed protection. When that center dissolves, the body is free to be exactly what it is. And what remains was never at risk. What was functioning then, the wholeness, the totality, the ungraspable reality, was never confined to their bodies, never claimed by their names, and continues now, unchanged, unerupted, and will continue beyond time. No one stood above life then. Life saw itself unobstructed and simply continued. And life does not end with one body failing. Life continues as whole. Those beings were not just those separate people or names that mind perceives. Existence itself was acknowledged in those forms, and existence cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be buried by some bricks. Illness cannot touch it. Death cannot come close.